I'm Sctr LD Corrales LT of the Laguna Council. Lashing or binding together timbers with ropes. Remember the secret in lashing. It's frapping. Frapping terms are used to draw lashing tight. Shear lashing. It is used to bind timbers or two poles together side by side or extending the pole. So first, we'll make a club hitch. Tie it in the end of the pole. And then put the next pole side by side. And then make continuous round turn. You don't have to make it tight. Remember, it's the propping that will do the job on tightening. Okay, so after making several turns, we can now start with the propping. The propping is making turns in between the poles. That's where you put pressure so that you would tighten. See? And then just make another club hitch to lock it. Oh, I made it so tight. Okay. So now I've extended the pole using shear lashing. Diagonal lashing. It is tying two poles that crosses together, wherein you don't need the two poles to touch it at each other. So first, in diagonal lashing, we'll make a timber hitch. And then after the timber hitch, you make several turns. 1, 2, 3. And then on the opposite side, 1, 2, and then 3. Now, we do our propping, making turn in between the poles and also to tighten the ropes. 1, 2, 3. And then you just close it up with a club hitch. So, using the diagonal lashing, there's a space in between these two poles wherein they are not touching on the point where they cross. Diagonal lashing. Next is square lashing. It is where two poles crosses each other, and on the point where it crosses, it needs to touch each other. So first, we'll begin with a club hitch. And then you make a turn into the pole, behind the pole, over the next pole, behind the next pole, over the next pole, okay, so on and so forth. Over, under, over, under. And then this time, we'll make the propping. So, turns in between the poles. 1, tighten it. 2, tighten it. 3. Remember, our first club hitch or the beginning club hitch was here. So we can make the next club hitch either here or here. So we'll make it here. So make another club hitch. So now we have a square lashing wherein the two poles are touching each other where they cross. Square lashing. Tripod lashing. It is tying three poles in order to make a tripod. It's similar on the making our shear lashing. So first, we make a club hitch. Tie it on the outer pole. And then put the three poles side by side and then just make continuous turn. But if your tripod would be carrying a heavier load, you can alternate the turn. So over, under, over, under, over, under, etc. But this time, we'll just make the continuous round turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll start to propping it. So we'll prop the first pole and the second pole in between the first and the second pole. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do it again on the second and third pole. 1, 2, 3, and then we just have to lock it again using the club hitch. Okay, so we have locked it using the club hitch. Now in making the tripod, remember, the two outer pole must be the one crossing each other and the middle pole will be on top. Okay, so you just open it. So if you can see, the two outer pole crosses each other and the middle pole is on top. So now you have your tripod. So there we go.